study fashion. So why should I learn about history, geography, economics, politics? You have to learn about all of that. And you also have to learn about art, architecture, music, cinema. Why? Because fashion doesn't exist in isolation. Fashion has an intrinsic connection with history, geography, economics, politics, architecture, cinema, music, and above all, art. Madeleine Vianney. Who is Madeleine Vianney? Madeleine Vianney was an early 20th century fashion designer. We owe many things to Madeleine Vianney, particularly things like drapery, things like the buyer's cut. Now, in her formative years, Madeleine was deeply influenced by the art and architecture of the Greek and Roman civilizations. Greek sculpture through draping and buyer's cutting. Salvadore Dali was a Spanish surrealist painter. Elsa Schiaparelli was a fashion designer known for her daring and innovative designs in the context of 1930s. Now the match between Salvadore Dali and Elsa Schiaparelli was a match made in heaven. Salvadore Dali was the inspiration behind many of Elsa Schiaparelli's best-known designs. The lobster dress, the shoe hat, and the tear dress are some examples of Dali-Schiaparelli collaboration. Schiaparelli introduced the circus print, musical notes, celestial bodies, and the newspaper print. The founder of Impressionism and one of the greatest French painters, Claude Monet, used his home and garden in Giverny, France, to capture natural landscape in his paintings. In the same spirit, Christian Dior, the pioneer of French couture, designed his iconic Miss Dior gown, which was embroidered with flower petals in shades of pink and violet. This is how Dior incorporated Monet's aesthetic into his designs. This week, we are paying homage to the departed Queen, Elizabeth II. Do you know Norman Hartnell, who designed the Queen's wedding gown, was inspired by Botticelli's famous painting, Primavera, which symbolizes the coming of spring. Hartnell adorned the gown with wheat and flowers. The pop art era of the 60s was probably the most influential from the point of view of fashion. Andy Warhol combined pop culture with high fashion. He introduced his signature silkscreen painting techniques. Gianni Versace dedicated his 1991 spring-summer collection to Andy Warhol. One of his dresses featured Warhol's iconic Marilyn Monroe print. Versace used brightly colored silkscreen portraits of Marilyn Monroe and James Dean on his dresses and accessories. For one of his most famous works, Andy Warhol captured the two worlds of Marilyn Monroe and Norma Jean, a woman who suffered from depression. Austrian painter Gustav Klimt's artistic aesthetic has inspired many fashion designers, including Christian Dior. Now, the designer who directly referenced Gustav Klimt was none other than Alexander Mcqueen. In 2013, Alexander Mcqueen's design team announced a collaboration with visual artist Damien Hirst. The house of Mcqueen took inspiration from spiders, butterflies, and other insects that crawled across Mcqueen's collection of 30 chiffon scarves. Frida Kahlo. Now Frida, with her monobrow, her Mexican-inspired outfits, linen skirts, flowers in the hair, has inspired many a fashion designer. Carolina Herrera, Givenchy, Dolce & Gabbana, and of course, yours truly. Frida Kahlo started wearing her own interpretation of traditional Mexican dress. Full skirts, embroidered blouses, and regal coiffure as an assertion of her national identity.